I'm Barry Stevens with Omni Logistics. I'm the general manager here in DFW. It's our largest facility, and if any of our ownership is listening, it's the best run facility. Well, logistics professionals really in charge of getting things from point A to point B, right? That can take on a lot of different looks depending on the type of client. You've got everything from dock to dock type moves to very intense white glove managed delivery type moves, where there's a lot of stuff to be done before you do the delivery and a lot of things to be done at the delivery. But logistics is how are you going to get it from here to here as cost effectively as possible, but also not allowing any damage, not allowing theft, not allowing weather delays. All of these things come into action. So really your play from a day to day is to keep track of all of those variables and find a way to take care of each and every one of them for your client. It just depends on the client. I mean, it's entirely different by client, and I think that's the thing that you probably have to take home from this whole experience is every client has something different that they need to accomplish. As logisticians, it's our responsibility to help on the logistics part of the supply chain. Now, what does that mean? That means you probably have to reach back in the supply chain all the way to the suppliers and the people that are developing the products and say, you know, in the real world, when this thing goes in a crate or a box or however you're going to ship it, we need to think about what that's going to look like, because if you're going to send it LTL or one of the modes that's going to have a lot of touches, then it needs to be created in a crate such that it will survive in the real world, is the best way to put that. So we're a part of that supply chain. We're a very vital part of that supply chain. The best solution is when all of those parties come together, and that's the people who are designing the products, the people who are going to use the products, the people who are going to package the products, and bring everybody together so that you can have a good master plan. If you can name the logo, we've probably used them. So I don't mean that to sound verbose. Look, clients pay us to know which carrier is the right carrier to use. That's why we are by choice a non-asset-based carrier. And what that means is I don't have a bunch of trucks lined up outside with Omni logos on them ready to move freight. The reason we've chosen to do that is at that point I'm beholden to the truck. My first responsibility would be to fill that truck, whether it's really the right thing to do for the client or not. So we're really carrier agnostic. I mean, we have relationships with all the big guys and a lot of the smaller guys as well. And some carriers we will use in the Northeast, but we would never use them in the Southwest because frankly, they're not any good in the Southwest. They're not predictable. But in the Northeast, they've got it covered. So clients really pay us to know the difference in who to use and when and how frequently. So that's kind of our expertise. Probably the variability. You know, we could wake up tomorrow and there could be a strike. Or we could wake up tomorrow and fuel prices go up or down, and we have to start rethinking for our clients what's the most economical way to move their freight. Again, making sure that we're being conscious of when it has to arrive and how safe and secure it has to be. Trump is the president, so I know there's going to be things like we discussed that we're going to have to think about with relation to all that. So it's the variability. It's the part that keeps it from being boring, because every morning we wake up, there's going to be a new challenge out here. So that's probably the most difficult part. The reason that everybody that's in this business maybe chose to be in the business, maybe got there by accident, but nobody leaves. And it's because it's so challenging every day, and it's so different every day when you wake up with a new challenge. To be able to provide a client a solution when everything was stacked against you, right? Maybe something happened to the truck, maybe you missed a cutoff for a plane, maybe it's got to be there because you know a bunch of people are going to be meeting the truck and doing an install, and they're highly paid technicians. Finding a way to get a solution out of chaos, well, that's fun, and it keeps people motivated. I love snow. Look, weather's always out there. That's why we've got to keep our eyes on it and know what's going on. So if we've got a big storm coming up in the Northeast, it's going to shut down Boston and Newark and Jersey, and it's going to be buried for 48 hours. We either need to hurry up some deliveries and get them there ahead of time, or we need to hold them back and keep them out of all the weather. Okay, so we don't want to put anybody in harm's way. I don't want a truck driver that's stuck in a truck in a snowbank for 48 hours. That's not good for anybody. It's probably not good for the freight. So you need to be watching those things and either route around, stop short, or get there quickly so you can get in and get out very carefully. Look, if they're not satisfied, there's probably a legitimate reason for it, which probably means we screwed up. One of the things it says on our website is, you know, we actually have phones and we actually answer them. If something's gone wrong with the client, we had better be the folks that told them about it before someone else did. You know, a bad delivery, a delayed delivery, a damage, which in the real world does happen some, you need to be calling the client when you find out about it. That involves the client so that you can figure out together, how do we take care of the situation? We may have a great idea and they may have a great idea that says, you know what, I know that piece can't get there, but I've got one in another part of the country. Let's bring that one down very quickly. We may have to fly it or whatever. But do everything you can do because you've impacted the client. They're unhappy because they've got a missed delivery. Maybe they can't do an installation when they intended to. Something has impacted their world. So it's really on us to make sure that we do everything in our power to take care of that situation. So A, it doesn't happen again, of course, but more importantly, make that particular instance as good as you can on a recovery side. I would tell you every day I have clients, potential clients especially, tell me it's not how much you err. Well, yeah, it is, but it's not that you had a problem, it's how did you recover from the problem. Did you communicate properly, and did you help me put a legitimate solution together to minimize the impact?